As very many people thought that it was an easy deal to do, Fabrizio Romano has gone ahead to say to us that the deal of Joao Felix to Arsenal is becoming difficult. Fabrizio Romano, you know what it means. That means he has concealed every rumor that has been everywhere. Whether it's right or wrong, now you have a side to take about this deal of Joao Felix to Arsenal. Then Agbleloha has gone ahead and advised Bukayo Saka not to join Manchester City in there for you, because rumors came out last week that Man City were interested in Bukayo Saka because he's left with 2 years on his contract. So they think they can go ahead and really sign him as he finds out on where his next move is supposed to be. Then lastly, as you know, tomorrow Arsenal is playing West Ham. David Moyes has got lots of things to say about the Arsenal team that they are going to face, and obviously don't get worried. They are just hails only to see to it that you guys are really safe. So Merry Christmas to you all. Rokani David is my name. How are you guys, and where are you watching us from? This is the channel that brings you your latest news and information as far as this is concerned. Let's jet it off with a story coming in from Fabrizio Romano. Now Fabrizio Romano has gone ahead to let us know that it is true they had conversations with his agent George Mendes, but it depends on the conditions of the deal, because if it's more than 100 mil, I think it's going to be difficult. Now, for Fabrizio Romano, he's not talking about the loan with no option to buy. You get, with a loan fee of £8 million. Fabrizio Romano is not talking about that. So it shows you how lots of stories coming in through might not be right according to Fabrizio Romano, because he is the #1 tier journalist according to me. This story that Duncan Castles put out would have been confirmed by him if at all it was true, meaning that conversations have been held but no conclusive agreement has been reached at. That's it. If at all you read that statement, it shows you that conversations have been held between Arsenal, you get, between Arsenal and the agent of George Mendes. So George Mendes is figuring out a situation that is going to be beneficial to both sides and enable or benefit his client, because we are having three parties, of which each party has different things to want from this deal. Atletico Madrid, they want 100 million euros from the deal for the player to move from Atletico to Arsenal or Manchester United, anywhere where they want to go. Now, for Joao Felix, he wants to leave the club because he fell out totally with the club. He's played in a pragmatic system that doesn't portray out his entire talent that he has already announced at the world stage. You know that very well. Then, for Arsenal, their main target is Mudryk. Mudryk is their main target, and for that, they are willing to spend everything they have in their pockets to see to it that they get it done. But it's now in dilemma that the position they're supposed to fill, they happen to have shown a player, or a player avail himself to them that I can go on and do the job and get the job done. And when you compare Mudryk and Joao Felix fits Arsenal better, because for him, he's a proven center forward. He can play off the right. He can play as a right forward and a left forward. When you look at Bukayo Mudryk, he's one of the upcoming talents. He's one of the upcoming talents that the world is really looking at. Though not all that a wonder kid, approved by very many huge clubs, but Arsenal looks at him as a very good player. People in Ukraine have always described him as a Ukraine Neymar. Obviously, he's really talented, good, quick feet. He has the step overs, and he has an end product to his game. That is the most important thing that Arsenal is really looking at. And as things stand, looks like Arsenal are in dilemma. Arsenal are now left in dilemma. What? Joao Felix or Mudryk dilemma? That's what Arsenal is in right now. The choice is going to be hard for them to make, because Joao Felix is the player that suits the perfect backup or replacement of Gabriel Jesus as he's injured and recovering. Bukayo Mudryk is one of the exciting young players that may be the heir to the throne of Messi or Ronaldo in the next 2-3 years. He's predicted to be the next big thing. Now Arsenal are left in between a rock and a hard place. Now, and a hard press. Now, they're there, Mikel Arteta and Edu, trying to scratch their brains and say, what are we going to do on this? Obviously, if I'm Rokani David, I've already told you my decision. I go with Joao Felix for now. Do you know why? For the deal of Mudryk, I can even do it next summer. How? I pay off Joao Felix, because if I know they want 100 million euros, they won't get it all. I give them like 80 million euros. I bring on Joao Felix. Then I get like 30 million euros. I deposit it on Mudryk and I tell them I'm going to come for him next summer. That works like a charm for Arsenal, because right now they need an experienced player on what winning is all about. Joao Felix has just won a league title with Atletico Madrid 2 years back. Remember that league that Suarez played in last in the La Liga? He won it and you saw him cry. I think that's when Messi left. That season that Messi left Barcelona, I think that's when he won it. Now, I think it's last season. Not last season. Last season but one. Because last season it's Real Madrid that won it. Last season but one, when Messi left La Liga. Now, he knows what winning is all about, according to me. Secondly, he's a proven talent who has been playing in a programmatic system that doesn't portray out his real talent and what his talent is all about. That is Joao Felix. So, to me, 100% believe it should be Joao Felix first. Many of you are really tied into Mudryk, but Arsenal can agree a deal with Shakhtar to see to it that they get him next summer. But for Joao Felix, I believe he's supposed to be the immediate purchase. And guys, if Arsenal fails to sign Joao Felix and United signs that player, you'll tell me at the end of the season, between Joao Felix and Mudryk, who has been more influential on both teams, or to both teams. Because Joao Felix has been playing the Champions League. He knows everything. He knows this league. You saw him torment Manchester United in the double tie of the round of 16. He knocked us out single-handedly. In the first game, he stretched his neck and headed the ball in the back of the net past Harry Maguire. Then, in the second game, he got the ball outside the children's box area and obviously hit a ball into the back of the net to make it 1-0, and United couldn't come back. So, bear this in mind. The deal is difficult, but I believe there is a dilemma between Arsenal now, because there is one of the top class players proven at the world stage who is a variable. He's in the same region of his selling price is in the same region of money with Mudryk, Arsenal's marquee signing this summer. So, will there be a shifting of goalposts? Let's wait and see what's going to happen. But Fabrizio Romano has not even hinted about the £80 million loan with paying for salary. That's it. Let's wait and see whether tomorrow Fabrizio will come up with something better, because today is Christmas and few stories are really coming in through today, but I believe tomorrow we'll be having lots of stories concerning a player known as Joao Felix to Arsenal and Mudryk. Not so? Now, after that, Agbeneloha on Saka and City rumors. Remember, there have been rumors that this guy known as Bukayo Saka, exciting young talent, 21 years of age at Arsenal, he is being monitored by Man City and he's on the ladder of Man City. They've scouted him, they want him, and they're willing to go on and pay. And remember, in the match of this year, a story came out that they are willing to pay £150 million for this player. And I told people, Man City would go in and do that. Do you know why? The structure of their team doesn't need them to go all out and buy very many players. That's why they can go on and pay close to £100 million for Jack Grealish. And now they want Bukayo Saka, and they can pay £150 million to Arsenal to get the signature of Bukayo Saka. Do you know why? They have already built their structure. Every season, they might be needing to buy 1 or 2 players. Unless this season where they had to bring in like 3, 4. Do you know why? Because they had lost very many players. They lost Zinchenko, they lost Gabriel Jesus, they lost Sterling. Then they brought in Haaland, Julian Alves, they brought in Calvin Phillips, Akanji, and the goalkeeper Ortega. They brought in 5. But when you look at the 5 they brought in, the most expensive player they brought in was Erling Haaland at 65 million euros. Though the agent fees that crossed hands from Man City to the father of Haaland and the Mino Raiola management agency amounted that deal close to 150 million euros. That's it. So when you look at that, it shows you that Man City have the capability to go in and say, all right, next summer, if we want only 1 player, we can go on and buy Bukayo Saka, and they can put that money on the table. So Beneloha has advised Saka that he will look at Man City and think, I won't start. They've got Haaland, Alvarez, Foden, Grealish, and Mahrez. He might look at it and think, I might not be guaranteed starter, but Arsenal he is. But there is something he's forgetting. Mahrez is on his way out. He's 32, 33 years of age. Obviously, of all these players that he has mentioned, only Foden and Mahrez play in his position. But Foden can be played off the left. He can even be played in the midfield 3 of Man City. So what does that mean? It means this is a wrong perception from Agbeneloha. It's very wrong. It's very wrong because Mahrez is on his way out, and I believe this might be his last season at Man City. 33 years of age. They won't entertain him anymore. Then that space, that position is going to be vacant, and they would love to see him go there and play. And obviously he starts in that City team. He starts in that City team because Mahrez, who would have benched him, is going to be out. Foden is always played in the midfield and obviously as a left forward. That's it. So that is something that Agbeneloha has said, but I'm really trying to let him know that that is really a wrong narrative. There is a place for this guy to play at City. Then he's going to let us know that I think Saka will be happy with the club he's at. It is his club. He's still young and they are the top of the league. I think it's no brainer he signs a new contract at Arsenal. This is where I agree with him that he's still young. 21 years of age. If Saka wants to go on and play for Man City or Real Madrid or Barcelona, he still has close to more 10 years ahead of him. So why don't you offer some for Moyes for Arsenal? At the age of 25, when you hit your prime, then you cross from Arsenal to another side. I think that will be great. And after 4 years, he might not find himself wanting to leave Arsenal because the project looks like it's more promising and it's taking Arsenal to where they were some 17, 18 years back as invisible. So I believe that's what I've picked in from what Agbeneloha has said, that this player, Bukayo Saka, is happy at Arsenal. That's it. He's still young. He supports Arsenal. He's from the academy of Arsenal, and I see no reason for him to leave. You see, very many Arsenal players were being sold during the Arsene Wenger era. Not that the players wanted to be sold, but the club was looking for money to go on and pay the debt they borrowed from the bank to build the new stadium. That's it. But right now, there is no interest for the club to sell. The club doesn't want to sell, doesn't need to sell to keep players like Bukayo Saka. So right now, I think it has to come from the player that I really want to go, but I don't believe Bukayo Saka at this stage will come in and tell them, please, I want to go. The reason as to why his deal is really delaying, it's because the amount of money he wants. I believe Bukayo Saka wants like £300,000 a week. That's what he wants. And he wants to be the highest paid player at Arsenal. So let's wait and see what that is going to happen. But obviously, Gabriel Agbeneloha has come out and really let us know about this. Now, you know, tomorrow, Arsenal is taking on West Ham. Who is the manager of West Ham? It's obviously David Moyes. In his own words, this is what he had to say via the website, via the West Ham website. Arsenal have had great teams, so it would be wrong to compare this one to the teams of the past. But if you are talking about recent times, Arsenal were getting criticized so much, I found it hard to believe. So he continued and said, I thought they were building a good team. I could see Emily Smith-Rowe, Saka and Martinelli coming through, and I'm starting to think, my goodness, people aren't seeing this right here. They looked a really good team in the making, and I think that's why they are right now. So, you see, one thing I like about managers that are really working in the Western world is they give credit to their opponent. When you look at Arsenal, the way they've made a turnaround to turn into a team where they are right now, you guys, it's unbelievable. And few people saw this coming. And I'm amongst those that saw this coming. I made a prediction on Kosi Arsenal podcast at the end of last season in March that if Arsenal signs in 4 quality players, they are going to compete for the trophy. And they are going to hit 90 points. Even an Arsenal fan known as Kosi at the Kosi Arsenal podcast couldn't believe it. Plus the other one coming in from Kenya he's called Glenn. Glenn from Kenya couldn't believe it. He said, no, we are nowhere near that. I told them, you guys, the third phase of the project is coming next season. And obviously, if you keep a manager like Arteta, expect the harvests in the third phase of the project. So, people might say Arsenal is ahead of schedule, but I believe they are really doing a fantastic and good job. And you see, even David Moyes, who's going to face them tomorrow at the Emirates, has come out and really hailed them because of the good work done. And they've gone ahead to go on and really keep this in line. And they are really doing good and better things at a club called Arsenal. So guys, thank you very much for watching in through first video of the day. 2 more are really coming in through. Tell me what you think about Joao Felix to Arsenal transfer difficult, as it causes dilemma for Arsenal between Joao Felix and Mudryk. Who should they pay the money for to see to it that he comes in through? What are your thoughts about that? What do you think about Agbeloha's thoughts of Bukayo Saka staying at Arsenal? The reason as given. I think you really have a very huge thought about it. And lastly, David Moyes, the hails, the comments he has really put up on the club of Arsenal as he's going to play them tomorrow. What are your thoughts about those 3 stories we've brought you here onto the Rokani Media Football? Thank you for watching in through. Merry Christmas. And obviously tomorrow Arsenal is returning into play. I think 23 hours, that's when Arsenal is going to be playing its game of football. But football is starting early enough. I think it's going to be... Which game is starting? Let me check here. Which game is starting the Premier League tomorrow? I think it's around lunchtime, depending on where you are. Tottenham, Brentford is the game that kickstarts tomorrow at 15:30 hours. Then Southampton, Brighton, Leicester, Newcastle, Liverpool is playing Aston Villa 2:30, and Arsenal will close the day by playing a team called West Ham. So we have close to very many fixtures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are having 7 fixtures tomorrow, and we can't wait to see all of them. Leicester versus Newcastle, Crystal Palace versus Fulham, Everton versus Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Arsenal versus West Ham will close the night. May the Almighty Lord bless you abundantly. Rock and David is my name. I sign out for now. See you later, my mates.